Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listener around the world, welcome to the How Is This Fake podcast. Today is a special episode. My name is Miggy, aka Peter Migdahl, aka one half of the How Is This Fake podcast, but for the sake of this episode, you can call me Captain Mig. And with that being said, we have a Trivia Titans title match for everybody here today. Here are the rules. I'm going to ask some questions, and our two competitors, they're going to answer them. That's it. No holds barred. So, Adam Pastor, he is our current How Is This Fake Trivia Titans champion, and he is taking on the other half of the How Is This Fake podcast, TJ Stone King. And with that being said, let's get this matchup started. It is time for our main event in our blue corner. Hailing from the side of the river, California, or somewhere over there, we have TJ, the Royal Rock Stone King.
That's me. I'm coming back for what is rightfully mine.
And in the
paper champion.
And in the blue corner or the red corner, whatever one I didn't say, we have the current Trivia Titans champion, representing I Am Snail and the Tiger Bomb Wrestling Podcast, Adam Tiger Bomb Pastor.
Thank you, Peter. Much appreciated, sir.
You're welcome. So here's how we're gonna do things. I'm gonna ask you your questions. You're going to have true or false. You're going to have multiple choice, and you're going to have to write some answers down. I'm going to have to take these glasses off and put my real glasses on so I can see the answers. With that being said, we're going to go until it's either a shutout or a knockout. Or a knockout.
But we'll see about that.
We're gonna start off with a handwritten question, and I'm gonna throw this one as a layup compared to some of the questions I have. I'm gonna test your true wrestling knowledge here of today, yesteryear, and later on in wrestling history. With that being said, only one person has given birth on WWE TV. Who is this one person?
Tell me when. I knew it before you even finished the question. I don't know what Adam did, but whatever.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you this much, man. I got my answer here.
Let's see it. That is correct. The answer is Mae Young. That is 1 point for each of you.
The fact that was a layup question says something about mid-2000s.
That was the layup question. I will say that, and Adam, I was explaining this to TJ. All of these questions and answers I came up with on the top of my head. So I might be wrong on some of them, but we'll do the best we can.
I'll take the word for it.
Recently in wrestling history, Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins purchased the world famous, well-known NWA. In this multiple choice question, what does NWA stand for? A. Naked Wrestling Alliance. B. National Wrestling Association. C. National Wrestler Association. Or D. National Wrestling Alliance.
I tell you what, if it was A, we'd talk about the NWA a lot more on the podcast.
Naked Wrestling Alliance. All right, I'm ready whenever you guys are.
Locked in, boys.
TJ, I can't see yours.
Oh, sorry.
The answer is D. National Wrestling Alliance. Now, next question is a handwritten one. Spelling does not matter. But with that being said, most recently, TNA Wrestling, formerly known as Impact, and NXT, the third brand, developmental brand of WWE, have been working together. And they've been featuring champions on their shows. Recently, the current TNA's Knockout champion was featured on NXT television. What is her name? Who is the current TNA Knockouts champion?
I hope I'm right.
Whenever you guys are ready.
Sir.
That is one for TJ. Masha Slamovich most recently beat former TNA's Knockout champion, Jordan Grace. And now she is in a feud. Jordan Grace is in a feud with Tessa Blanchard. So that is one up, TJ.
I feel like I just cleared an area of like Elden Ring or something.
Now,
What happens?
what? Okay, so multiple choice again. Recently, in the last week, Lucha Underground got a shout out on WWE TV, while a former Lucha Underground star, Ricochet, is currently wrestling and is a big star in AEW. What was Ricochet's name in Lucha Underground? A, was it Trevor Mann? B, was it Prince Pride? C, was it Prince Puma? Or D, was it Ricochet? A, Trevor Mann. B, Prince Pride. C, Prince Puma. Or D, Ricochet. Whenever you guys are ready.
Ready, boss man.
The answer is C. He went under the name of Prince Puma. That is a one for each of you.
What are we playing till, boss?
Until it's either until we either got like 2 or 3 up on the person, or until we run out of questions.
All right.
Um,
I just needed to know when the mercy rule goes into effect, but that's okay. Anyways, sorry.
I have a steel chair waiting in case things get ugly, but we'll implement that if we.
It is no holds barred here.
There's no holds barred.
With that being said, this is a write-in question. No, you know what? Yes, it is a write-in question. Spelling does not matter. Former general manager of Raw, Eric Bischoff, probably the most well-known general manager of Raw, Eric Bischoff, came up with an idea during his time as general manager in which a person would, and it takes from some WCW stuff, but in which a person would come up and spin a wheel, and therefore that person would end up being in that kind of match. What was that night on Raw called, or what was the thing called? What was the wheel called, the night called that took place in Vegas? There's your hint.
Damn it. Thought you were going to ask me about Taboo Tuesday or Cyber.
Oh, that would have been a good one. All right, whenever you guys are ready. TJ, what's yours?
Oh, Raw Roulette. Or Lottery. Not Raw Roulette.
All right.
Sorry.
Now what?
That one goes to Adam, and we are tied up.
What the damn hell happened there?
I cheated. I'm turning heel.
All right, here's another layup for you guys.
So just to be clear, we're 1-1 currently as it stands.
Currently as it stands.
I
We'll
see.
do 2 true or false questions in a row. True or false? All of AEW's Double or Nothing events have taken place in Vegas. Speaking of roulette, all of AEW's Double or Nothing events have taken place in Vegas. True or false? That answer is false. There were 2 that took place in Florida because of COVID at Daly's place. Point TJ.
COVID, not you, Adam.
Here's another
bad sport.
True or false? Recently, in a lot of trouble, this man basically is the father of wrestling we know today. He is a father to 2 children, and his name is Vince McMahon. But now, even though there were 2 children that Vince McMahon fathered that we know of, did Vince McMahon Sr. only father 1 child? So true or false? Vince McMahon that we know, current Vince McMahon, is he an only child? True or false?
This is leaving the world of wrestling and this is getting into Jerry Springer or Maury.
Shout out Jerry Springer, former guest host of Raw. R.I.P.
Oh,
friend of the podcast.
Friend of the podcast. Jerry.
Wait, so clarification.
Yes.
True.
True is that Vince McMahon is an only child. False is that he is not.
All right. I'm locked in. Here we are.
TJ, you almost had it. You got to go a little bit more to the center. That is false. That is correct. He has 1 brother, or a half brother.
Can you imagine 2 full-blooded Vince McMahons?
A long-lost twin brother.
All right.
Vince is just the evil twin.
The good McMahon.
Speaking of families, let's talk about the Wyatt family. Now, we all know that there's been the core 4 of the Wyatt family. Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, and Braun Strowman. But there have been more members. So with that being said, how many members of the Wyatt family have there been, of the official Wyatt family, not including the Wyatt 6, how many members of the Wyatt family have there been over its time? Does that question make sense?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have to have competed in the ring?
Yes. As part of the Wyatt family, they had to have competed in the ring.
Oh. Okay. So, hold on, I gotta do math.
So in total, so we're adding 4. I gave you 4. It's more than that.
I think we have something. God.
There were 6.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan,
please,
and
yes.
Randy Orton.
What about Alexa Bliss?
Alexa Bliss was never part of the Wyatt family. She was just part of a team or corruption by Bray Wyatt, but never part of the original stable.
Whatever.
But speaking of,
at least we were both wrong.
Speaking of Bray Wyatt and a pay-per-view coming up, Bray Wyatt won his first ever WWE Championship here in Phoenix, Arizona, in an Elimination Chamber match. So sticking with the numbers, I'm looking for a number here. How many people were in the original Elimination Chamber match? The very first Elimination Chamber match. How many people were there?
I feel like that's a trick question.
I'll give you this. Don't overthink it. The answer is 6. That is correct. Don't ask me who was in it because I don't remember.
I counted off the top of my head the number of pods and then 2 people being in the ring.
Wasn't John Cena in it? And didn't he win the very first one because that's when Edge cashed in the first
Wasn't
time?
it Shawn Michaels?
I'm pretty sure Shawn Michaels won the very first one. It took place in 2003. It was Goldberg. I know Goldberg, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels were all in it.
That's when
I think
Goldberg
Kane may have been in it
co-through
too,
that
Unmasked Kane. Rob Van Dam and Booker T, I think, but I could be wrong. But sticking to a similar theme, there's your hint there. Sticking to a similar theme, what current WWE star made his debut in the 2013 Royal Rumble, also taking place in Phoenix, Arizona? He made his main roster debut in the 2013 Royal Rumble. This is a tough one.
Just 2 years ago, right?
2013.
Oh, 13?
2013. Sticking to
currently there?
Currently still on the roster.
Currently on the roster. Made his debut in 2013's Royal Rumble.
Golly.
I'm shooting here. I got a good feeling about it, but I wouldn't be surprised if I was wrong.
Great.
I'm ready whenever you guys are. Similar theme. The answer was Bo Dallas.
Ah! That was in one ear and out the other. My bad. I wasn't playing the game.
That was a very deep.
That was deep.
Question.
That one I thought out. That was actually on one of the last questions I came
That
up
was
with.
an awesome question.
All right. So going back to true or false. And we're in WrestleMania season pretty much. A man that is famous for his WrestleMania matches, or his matches on some of the earliest WrestleManias, Hulk Hogan, recently got booed out of the building. But there was a time where he was loved. And he is really famous for his match against Andre the Giant, which took place at WrestleMania. True or false? Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant took place at the very first WrestleMania. True or false? Hogan and Andre, WrestleMania 1. That answer is false. That took place at WrestleMania 3. Good job.
Silverdome, brother.
Let's see here.
Can I ask a question real quick? I don't mean to kill the flow of the game.
Yeah.
If you were at Raw, would you have booed Hulk Hogan?
Probably.
What about you, Adam?
I think I would have been giving him double birds at the same time.
All right. Okay.
Multiple choice question. Who was the WCW champion at the time of the purchase of multiple choice. The time of the purchase of WCW by WWF and or WWE. Was it A, Stone Cold Steve Austin, B, Booker T, C, Buff Bagwell, or D, Diamond Dallas Page? Stone Cold, Booker T, Buff Bagwell, Diamond Dallas Page.
Buff's got the stuff.
Well, I don't think it was Buff Daddy. I think
It was B, Booker T. TJ still leads by 1.
It's supposed to be my wheelhouse.
But speaking of WCW, here's a write-in question. Speaking of WCW, starring Diamond Dallas Page and David Arquette, what was the name of the WCW-themed movie with heroine Jimmy King? What was the name of the WCW movie starring David Arquette, Diamond Dallas Page?
This movie also featured one of the triple cages. I forget what they called it in WCW.
Yeah.
But it's a Hell in a Cell on top of a Hell in a Cell on top of a Hell in a Cell.
Yep.
Golly. I was just revisiting this not too long ago. It slipped my mind. Okay. This is what I got.
Ooh, good guess, but it is ready to rumble.
I don't remember it being that good of a movie.
It's great. It's a great movie. Speaking of rumbles, who won now this you have to really pay attention and listen to this question. It's another write-in question. Spelling does not matter. Who won the men's Royal Rumble the same year that Asuka won the first ever women's Royal Rumble? Who won the men's Royal Rumble the same year that Asuka won the women's Royal Rumble? The first ever.
I don't know how intriguing this is to the audio listeners that just hear us intensely thinking.
I'm gonna have to edit out.
Trying my best. That's a hard thing.
I don't think this is it. And if it's what I thought it was, then I'm going to be mad.
Let's see it. TJ taking it with Shinsuke Nakamura. He has a heavy lead right now. Let's see if Adam can catch up.
I was going to pick Roman Reigns, but then I remembered that he won the one just 2 years prior to that, because I think Asuka, that was WrestleMania 34, right? So 2 years prior to that, Roman Reigns won, and that's how it... Oh, no, he lost because Triple H threw him over, and he won... Anyway,
it was a year before.
Yeah. Golly, that's hard.
So let's...
that was a good question, Beer.
Thank you. Let's jump back to Vince McMahon here for a second. Vince McMahon took over the wrestling company from his father. That we know. But he was not always in the wrestling business. Multiple choice question. What was Vince McMahon's job before getting into wrestling? Was he A, a tailor, B, a car salesman, D, a movie theater worker, or C, a movie theater worker, or D, a knife salesman, a tailor, a car salesman, a movie theater worker, or a knife salesman?
I've never, I never knew that he had another job prior to. I mean, yeah, that's a crazy deep cut to pull out. Oh man,
Adam's gonna ask for a rematch.
The answer is, Vince McMahon didn't even get into the wrestling business until he was in his 40s. Prior to that, he was a struggling door-to-door knives salesman.
wow.
No shit. How weird. You want to buy these knives?
Yeah. Um,
God.
no points given there. Couple of tough write-in questions here. You ready?
Yes, sir.
During the first ever Double or Nothing, the Dark Order members Stu Grayson and Evil Uno made their debut into AEW, but they were well known on the independent scene under what name? What were Stu Grayson and Evil Uno called on the independent scene? I'll give you a hint. It is the same name as a video game. For those of you listening, I'm in the background dancing.
Was that a hint you were giving?
There was a hint I was giving.
I'm not even going to try to cheat and use your hint because I just want to beat Adam so clean that it's not even a question when I win whether or not it was, predetermined or anything like that.
We'll see if you needed a hint or not.
I'm definitely getting this one wrong, though.
No, it was the Super Smash Bros. Adam takes that with a point.
Did you just name the first game that
The
came
Super
to your
Smash
mind?
Bros. Let's see here. You know what? We're gonna do a couple more write-in questions.
Hey, real quick, Peter. So there's about 4 minutes left on this. Do you want me to hang up and do another one?
Yeah, let's do another one. Let's keep it going for a little while. Speaking of something similar, during our break, I gave you a little hint of what was coming next on the How Is This Fake Trivia Titans Championship match. Multiple choice question here. Which of these women has CM Punk not been romantically tied to in the past? Which of these women has CM Punk not been romantically tied to in the past? Was it A, Lita, B, Trish Stratus, C, Maria Kanellis, or D, Beth Phoenix?
I wasn't on the dirt sheets like you, Peter. I'm just kidding.
We got A,
Wow, that's
Lita, B, Trish Stratus, C, Maria Kanellis, and D, Beth Phoenix.
Maria Kanellis is such a wild card in those four.
I
When you
thought
said
that-
Lita, I was like, I don't think he would date Lita. But then you said Trish Stratus, and I was like, I really don't think he would date her either.
I'll give you a hint. Him and Edge have a very similar dating history.
I knew about that. I'll leave it at that. But oh man, damn, that's a good question.
Didn't he date Lita too? Ugh.
So it's which one did CM Punk not date?
I got my answer. I'm locked in.
All right, we're locked in.
All right. A, B, C, or D?
Do.
He did not date Trish Stratus. That is a point for Adam. TJ, you still lead by 1. He did, however, date Lita, Maria Kanellis, and Beth Phoenix, Edge's current wife. And Lita, Edge's ex-girlfriend, who also was tied to Matthew Hardy. Leading us to our next multiple choice question. Matthew Hardy lives on the Hardy compound, has become famous for his own singles career and his broken Matt Hardy gimmick on the Hardy compound, in which Reba Hart, oh, however you say your name, his wife lives. His kids, I know one of them is Maxwell, the other, or something like that. Maxim, and Gothic Baby, and there's another one in between. Senior Benjamin, his father-in-law, lives there. But they also have a robot in the name of a security drone. What is the name of Matt Hardy's drone? Is it A, Vanguard 1, B, Vanguard 3, C, Guardian Van, or D, Vanguard 7? So we got Vanguard 1, Vanguard 3, Guardian Van, and Vanguard 7.
That's just what they call the drones over New Jersey, the Guardian vans.
Guardian Vans. They're just van-sized drones.
It's the aliens, man. Oh man, this is.
Oh, I thought Adam
You
was
showed
done.
you showed your
Oh,
cards.
I didn't look.
But the answer is A. Vanguard 1.
I
I'm
was
still
not
up by
looking.
1.
You are still up by 1. TJ, you are still up by 1. Speaking of, let's stick to let's get back to the dating life here. Kane famously almost married Lita on an episode of Raw, tied to Gene Snitsky. Check out the How Is This Fake story from January 15th. But Kane also famously had a girlfriend that faced a tragic demise, and they ran with this creepy story for a long time. Handwritten question: what was Kane's girlfriend's name? The answer is Katie Vick. TJ still leads by 1. Let's continue with this handwritten question here. This is a tough one. Speaking of dating. But going back to NXT, recently appearing in the Philadelphia episode of NXT was professional wrestling legend Dawn Marie, who famously was part of the Ruthless Aggression era of WWE. You could say Ruthless Aggression era, probably late Attitude Era, where she also got married on an episode of SmackDown. Who did she marry? First and last name. Who did she marry? I'll give you a
Dawn
hint.
Marie?
Yes, Dawn Marie. I'll give you a hint. He was the father of another professional wrestler at the time.
I got you, dog.
Father?
The father of another professional
I
wrestler
can't
at the
even
time.
think of Dawn Marie's face. Father-son wrestler. Dude.
In the
Literally
9 minutes
just writing.
between our calls, I studied the entire pro wrestling history, and I watched this episode actually.
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready for you.
Ready?
The Finley. I love it. But we are now tied. We are now tied.
Torrie Wilson's dad.
Torrie Wilson's dad, Al Wilson, R.I.P. Al Wilson, who died on SmackDown, but also lived a few more, came back to life, lived a few more years off screen, and then unfortunately unfortunately no longer with us. Let's see here.
Friend of the podcast.
Friend of the podcast.
A lot of friends here.
Let's do another write-in question. This one is a tough one. 2008 was a weird year for Monday Night Raw. I believe Jeff Hardy, who recently said he was would have been as big as John Cena if he would have been clean that year. A lot of crazy stuff happened that year. Triple H involved, some injuries taking place, a weird WWE draft. We'll get back to that in a second. But Joey Styles of ECW was one of the commentators on Monday Night Raw. But then he was replaced by a man who would soon become the Raw general manager after his time on commentary. Famously known for saying Jeff Hardy's name as Jeff Harvey. He had no idea anything about wrestling. Replacing Joey Styles, then became Raw general manager Jeff Harvey. No relation to Steve Harvey. Not even a mustache on this man.
God.
There's one name that's coming to mind, but I don't remember all the details you gave me. Like, I'm not familiar with them, but there's one name that comes to mind.
He was a Raw general manager, and he is not the anonymous Raw general manager. And after his stint with general manager, he was gone.
God dang.
How long was he GM for?
This.
I think like 6 months.
I don't think this is the right answer, but this is the only name that popped into my mind. Here we go.
John Laurinaitis. Who? Matt Stryker? Ooh, that's a good guess. Matt Stryker was a good guess.
Well, that means it's wrong.
Funny Matt Stryker story. I ran into him the very first Double or Nothing weekend, and he was just there as a fan. Anyway, with that being said, the answer is Mike Adamle. That was a tough one. That was a tough one.
That name never even, it did not cross my brain. God.
Jeff Hardy should have blamed Mike Adamle instead of the drugs.
Right. Speaking of general managers, this man is a former general manager and the father of NXT's own Charlie Dempsey. What is his name? Former general manager and Charlie Dempsey's father. No quarter catch crew. Putting on some phenomenal matches lately over there on NXT. Sometimes I watch NXT while drinking a Lipton Brisk iced tea, which is my favorite thing to drink.
Do you want this title to come back to the podcast or not? You're giving away too many hints. I didn't pay you. I mean,
I'm just talking about NXT. I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding.
Wait. I have a question to hold things for a second. I saw your tie, Peter. Can I see that one more time? That is like the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Actually, remember a couple of these faces on this tie revolve around some answers. We got The Rock, we got Stone Cold, we got The Undertaker, we got Kane, we got Big Show, we got X-Pac, we have Road Dogg. We don't have Billy Gunn, but we do have one of the greatest of all time, Edge, and China on top of X-Pac.
Peter wore that when he got married.
I
That
wish she wouldn't let me. I wish.
would be the ultimate
I
tie.
wanted to. I wanted to wear this tie so bad. When I was teaching, I wasn't allowed to wear this tie either. They said no.
Golly.
I would have
That
quit
is
too.
sweet.
Yeah.
Fuck them kids.
Well, you got your answer, TJ.
Yeah, I had it early.
All right, let's see it.
Maybe I was buying time to think.
TJ, I can't see yours.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
William
yep.
Regal.
I got it now. All right, we're still tied. We're still tied with William Regal as the answer. Speaking of William Regal, we're gonna stick with some writing questions for a little while, so be ready. Speaking of William Regal, he had a short stint on AEW, and his time there led to what's going on in AEW today. But let's look back at the past, right? William Regal helped create the stable that we know as the Death Riders, formerly the BCC. But there was a stable at the start of AEW, pretty much at the start of AEW, and that was made up of Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager, Santana, and Ortiz. What was the name of that stable? And or faction, however you want to pronounce it. Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager, Santana, and Ortiz.
Um. Oh, come on.
Struggling, man.
I am because I can see their vests where it says like the names on it and original. It was like Sons of Anarchy. Um.
That feels like
Wow.
a decade ago.
Oh.
Right?
And the Pinnacle came to mind too. That was MJF. Okay.
That was MJF.
Oh, it was
It's the inner circle. Adam takes the lead.
Let's go. Let's go.
It was the list of Jericho, not the circle of Jericho.
Circle.
God.
The right
Speaking
idea.
of
Circle. Ah.
Ah,
speaking of teams,
Circle of Jerkico.
speaking of teams wearing vests, in TNA there was a biker gang themed faction called Aces and Eights. Who was revealed as Aces and Eights leader? It's probably the most famous faction in AEW or in TNA history. Who was Aces and Eights leader? I'll give you a hint. He is a WWE Hall of Famer today. The leader of Aces and Eights and WWE Hall of Famer. He goes by two names. I will take either one. The answer is Bully Ray. Adam still leads by one, but that's okay. Bully Ray was the
Ridiculous.
answer. Speaking of TNA, Rory McAllister. This is a tough one. Rory McAllister and his tag team partner were on a rise in WWE during the Ruthless Aggression era. However, Rory McAllister thought it would be a great idea to go see a local TNA show on his day off, where the TNA cameramen decided to show Rory McAllister in the crowd as Rory McAllister. And that made WWE very upset, which got their tag team buried and ultimately led to them both being released from their contract. What was the name of the tag team that Rory McAllister was a part of? One of my favorite theme songs of all time. And if you don't know this theme song, you should go look it up in general.
I know it's wrong, but I'm just gonna write it because
now I think we've reached a turning point here. I think.
okay. Well, if I didn't have to answer questions about CM Punk's dating history, it's fine.
Hmm.
La Resistance. The answer is the Highlanders. Adam leads by 2. All right, let's have a layup here. Let's throw a layup in here. TJ, one half of the House is Fake podcast, sat next to Stephen Amell, a good friend of Cody Rhodes, at a recent WWE house show or within like recent time.
Friend
And
of the
Cody
podcast.
Rhodes, yep. And there's a nice picture of TJ and his son behind Cody Rhodes that was taken. So let's talk about Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, son of Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes not known much for his tag team career. Neither was Dustin Rhodes, also known as Goldust, even though he's a current tag team champion. Cody has been a multiple-time WWE tag team champion. But yet, who was Cody's first tag team championship won with? Who did Cody win his first WWE tag team championship with?
Ugh.
I'll give you a hint. This man also had a family in professional wrestling.
Well, that doesn't help me at all. Because whether I'm right or wrong.
The answer, that is Ted DiBiase and Ted DiBiase Jr. are good guesses.
Is it Randy
But Cody
Orton?
actually was a face when he made his debut, later turning heel and joining Ted DiBiase and turning on his tag team partner in the match for the tag team championships, in which Cody turned on his tag team partner and was later revealed as Ted DiBiase Jr.'s tag team partner. The answer is Hardcore Holly.
What?
Bob Holly.
What?
What the hell? I don't.
Bob Holly
That's
was Cody Rhodes' first ever tag team championship partner.
Hardcore Holly won a WWE title that wasn't a hardcore title?
Yeah, he was Intercontinental Champion too, I think. Speaking of Intercontinental Champions, the indie god Matt Cardona. He was a world famous Intercontinental Champion, but yet he also won the GCW Championship in recent years. True or false? Matt Cardona beat Nick Gage for the GCW Championship. Beat Nick Gage for the GCW Championship. True or false? With that being said, Nick Gage is a beast. Almost killed former WCW champion and star of Ready to Rumble, David Arquette. I learned that in a Dark Side of the Ring episode, I think. Or no, I learned that in the David Arquette documentary. You can't kill David Arquette.
Side note on almost dying. If you guys or the listeners out there have never heard of this phrase, just go look it up for yourself. And this is why I don't like New Jack. Mass transit.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible.
Google it. Anyways.
All you got to do.
The answer is true. The answer is true.
You know, it's been real fun, but I'm tired of
All right, we're going to do
the struggle.
We're going to do
want
a few more questions.
Adam's winning by 2, and I need something.
He's
that's
winning by
get
1.
me
I
back
think he's
into
winning by
this.
1.
Oh, I'll take
wait
it, ref.
minutes.
I think it's by 2. I said in
might be by
the
2.
last episode that I would fight fair, even though I really don't feel like it.
Speaking of
I should have ended this Zoom call when I was ahead.
Speaking of a fair fight, who won the most Royal Rumbles? Who has won the most Royal Rumbles? By winning 3 of them.
Yeah.
used to be Steve Austin for so long.
Well, that was my first thought. I was gonna write that down until you said that.
Steve Austin's beer, friend of the podcast, El Seguro or something like that. It's pretty good.
Friend of your fridge.
Friend of my refrigerator, not a friend of my wallet though. It's not cheap.
Very much. Wow.
Okay. I'll explain my answer if I'm right. I'll explain it. Okay.
A shot in the dark.
The answer is Steve Austin, but Edge is a good guess. Edge has won
I
2.
almost
Steve Austin
guessed
has won 3.
I almost guessed Roman Reigns because that was the only other person I could think would have done it, but I have never heard them mention that on commentary before. And if that was a fact, that would be something that I wouldn't get out of my brain because they would have drilled it into me by now.
There is a lot of there is a lot of uh 2-time winners, but not 3-time winners. Stone Cold Steve Austin, I think he won 2001, 97, and 98. Speaking of winning the Royal Rumble, you go on to WrestleMania. Though, in this WrestleMania, the main event was not the Royal Rumble winner. Who did Undertaker defeat at Phoenix's WrestleMania 26? Who did the Undertaker defeat at Phoenix's WrestleMania 26? Also on that card, I think we had Batista and Edge, I think, if I remember right. I know Bret Hart versus the Hart family versus Vince McMahon was on that card. Mr. Kennedy Jack Swagger won the Money in the Bank championship on that card. Who did he defeat at WrestleMania 26? The answer is Shawn Michaels. Adam still leads by 1. This question is a tough one. So it's going to be worth 2 points. A 2-point question because it's that hard. WrestleMania has nothing to do with this question, but it has everything to do with these 4 men ended up. Those 4 men I'm talking about is Ric Flair, Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista, known as Evolution. However, Batista was not supposed to be the original member of Evolution. Multiple choice question. Who was supposed to be that original member? Was it A, Mark Jindrak, B, Mason Ryan, C, Kane, or D, what's his name? D, Marcus Corvan. That's it. It's not D. It's not Marcus Corvan.
Pounce was a killer.
It was so good.
Can you repeat the first 2, please?
Mark Jindrak, Mason Ryan. Kane.
A and B. That's A and B.
Yeah. Kane or Marcus Corvan, a.k.a. Monty Brown.
The Pounce was cool.
The answer is A, leaving Adam still ahead by 1. All right, we'll do a couple more. A write-in question. Also worth 2 points because there's 2 answers. Speaking of world famous factions, what do you guys? This is an open-ended question to you guys, not a question for the test. What do you think are the 2 most famous factions in WWE or professional wrestling history?
New World Order.
Especially in the 90s.
New, I mean,
in the 90s, DX and
EX,
NWO.
NWO.
DX and the NWO. That is correct. And those factions throughout all time actually share 3 members. Rick Rude being one of them. Who are the other 2 members that were both in the NWO and in DX? Worth 2 points.
Taking the fucking lead. I better take the lead. I've owned like 20 NWO shirts in my life.
X-Pac
damn it.
and HBK. Adam is still ahead by 1.
I was going to say, even if it was very short-lived, it was HBK.
All right, you know what?
Let's do a multiple choice question.
Do it.
Hosted by The Miz in his debut time. Who was the winner of the very first WWE Raw Diva search? Was it A, Ashley, B, Christy Hemme, C, Maria Kanellis, or D, Michelle McCool? Christy Hemme is B, Michelle McCool is D. Do you need me to repeat the other 2? We had Maria Kanellis as C and Ashley as A. Very first Diva search. That is where The Miz became famous. Also, Jerry Lawler was heavily involved in that.
Not
sure
surprised.
Someone had to watch the dogs. Puppies.
All right. The answer is B.
Oh, what the?
Christy Hemme.
What the damn hell?
So we are tied. Next ahead point wins.
Holy.
Next ahead point wins. Whoever gets ahead on the next point wins. And I'm going to throw my toughest question on this piece of paper I have at you. Famous independent wrestler Low Ki also wrestled in TNA as Low Ki. But he was the winner of season 2 of NXT back when it was a little contest that they did. What was his name in WWE? What was Low Ki's name in WWE? I'll give you a hint. It is 6 letters. 5 letters. It is 5 letters.
Dang.
These are the only 5 letters I can think of.
2 of those letters are the same, if that helps.
Well, that takes that answer.
God dang.
And one of those letters is a K. Keep in mind,
Wheel of Fortune. Just give it to me. With a K?
Yeah.
Coco Beware. It wasn't him.
It wasn't. It wasn't Lyra Valkyria. Come on now. The bird lady.
Man.
God dang.
Are we forfeiting?
I am. Well, this question, not the match.
Yeah.
Then maybe we both forfeit this question. Does that
The
mean...
answer is Caval.
Oh, how?
That was a tough one.
There ain't no way. Can I show you what I did right?
Yeah. Low Ki. Okay, I like that. Yeah.
Kicky.
Speaking of tough, this faction currently in WWE is Tough. And this faction also shares the name with a former WWE pay-per-view and or live event, whatever they call them, PLE. What is the name of that PLE that shares the name with a current WWE faction? So there is a current team in WWE that also shared the name of this pay-per-view.
That squeaking is my table. It's like, if you can hear it, it's like 8 years old and we bought it for $80.
I love it.
Back then.
It's worth 2,000 now.
All right.
Dang, I was hoping that would be one that
The
flew
answer
over his
is the
head.
Judgment Day.
You don't know who you're messing with here, man. Ain't no chump over here.
Some champion.
Speaking of pay-per-view names, this pay-per-view happened to be the first women's only WWE pay-per-view. What was the name of the first ever women's only WWE pay-per-view that also was the only women's WWE pay-per-view?
They should have done it at least once a year.
Yeah. Ironically enough, also shares the name of a WWE faction.
Oh, hell.
See, I was going to beat him, Peter. We were going to have the title back in the podcast, and now he's second-guessing what he wrote, and he's going to get it right.
Well, I'm going to give him about 10 more seconds.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's it.
We're running on
seconds.
time. We're running on
10
time
seconds.
here.
Peter's
8,
been like Rick Knox this whole time,
7.
just disregarding all the rules.
It's 9:30 here.
Fuck.
All right, Adam, you got it?
I guess no, I don't have it, but I
Well,
guess
Do you need more time? Do you have it?
Ooh.
Would you have it if you had more time?
Oh, hell no, I don't think so. To be quite honest. Yeah, you're gonna.
The answer is Evolution. Ding, ding, ding. And your winner, TJ, the Royal Rock Stone King, bringing his championship back to the How Is This Fake podcast. Now, what we fail to mention here
Ali.
is that there is a rematch clause.
What?
So in the next few weeks, Trivia Titans 3, the rematch between Adam and TJ.
Don't I have a say in this? Is the champion?
We put it on the schedule.
Oh, all right.
Well, let me just say this. Great questions. Phenomenal questions. Like,
Thank you.
some of the hardest questions that I've had to
They're
think.
pretty difficult.
I still have
Very good.
about 10 more. Did I get one of them was who was Snooki's tag team partner at WrestleMania? That's Trish Stratus. Who were the first two people in the draft? You had Ric Flair and Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
I know you wanted me to save some of these, TJ, but I'll come up with more. John Cena's name in OVW. We had the prototype. It was the Big Show who was the wrestler featured in Jingle All the Way.
I wouldn't have got that one right.
No?
Not unless you gave me a wicked hint.
Huh.
It was
Yep.
it was WrestleMania 34 when Braun Strowman and Nicholas won the tag team champions.
Oh, longest reigning champs.
Never happened to that kid. Does anyone know what happened to that kid?
He
grew
gets
up
like
to
free
be,
toys from
Braun
WWE for life. And it was Santino Marella who won an Intercontinental Championship on his very first night on Monday Night Raw, debuting as a fan in the crowd.
I remember that.
He beat Umaga.
Umaga.
John Cena.
Alright.
Well,
Gentlemen,
everyone.
this was fun. Thank you for
was.
joining us.
Well,
Follow us all on all of our socials. How Is This Fake Podcast? HITF Pod. Tiger Bomb Wrestling. I think that's the handle, right?
yes, sir. That is right.
Your host, Captain Mig. He has Miggy's Mindset. Too, where we also we plug on How Is This Fake sometimes. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Good, dude.
And yeah, give us a follow.